Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning and happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Hopefully you have fun plans today. So like I said the other day, at least around here, it's supposed to pour rain all day, so it could be any barbecues. We'll see if what the puppies got Mrs. P as a gift. That'll be the fun part. So, how's the first 4 months going for you? Are you getting what you voted for? Be my question. We look at the past election, past November, and why Trump was elected, why a lot of members of Congress were elected. And overwhelmingly, the two most important subjects that mattered to the American people were the economy and illegal immigration. And both of them seem to be in the headlines a lot this week. You know, you look on the economic deal, we signed a tariff treaty or, tariff agreement, I guess, with Great Britain. It's okay. And again, like I said, not that we get a whole lot of stuff from Great Britain. It's like unless you're driving a Jaguar or Rolls Royce or, something like that, probably not a fact. You drink scotch, okay. Give you that. But there are a lot of American companies that do business in the UK. A lot of them moved to Ireland, remember that, to avoid Bidenomics. So we still have imports that are coming from American companies that happen to be in Great Britain coming to the United States. That's one of them. The illegal immigration one is the one that I think is just as important to us and and kind of works into the economic deal. You'll hear all the liberals yell, "Who's going to pick your strawberries? Who's going to pluck the feathers off the chicken at the chicken plant?" Don't give me that crap, okay? There's plenty of legal immigrants that do those jobs. There's plenty of natural-born citizens that do those jobs. I got a great idea. Let's take people off the welfare rolls and let's let them do those jobs. You want to talk about how to fix systems real quick, how to fix the economy? Twofold. Let's take all these able-bodied people that are on any sort of social program and say, you're cut off, you're going to work, okay? Now, sure, there are plenty of people, I will agree, that collect food stamps or on welfare, Section 8 housing, anything of the sort, that truly deserve it, okay? I mean, they are physically or mentally injured, handicapped, okay? I'm sorry, being transgender does not make you eligible for social programs, even though that's a mental illness. But I've known many people in my life, especially when I lived up in New England, who gamed the system and collected money off all the social programs just because, I don't want to go to work. I can figure out some way to skirt the system and get SSDI. I smoke too much dope. I'm disabled, right? Y'all probably know people like that too. Okay. No, my idea on that one is, you know what? You're cut off. End of story. You want to make money? You want to have an apartment? Whatever? Go get a job. Real good idea. Let's put the American people back to work. You saw the story this week about 3 or 4, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4, but the mayor of Newark and a few congressmen literally crashing, there we go, literally crashing the gates at a detention facility, at a jail up in Jersey, because they wanted to see all the illegals in the prison. They wanted to break them out, right? It's kind of funny how that's so important to them. But go back a few years with all the J6ers who were arrested without charges, okay, and when you had Congress people trying to visit them, when you had lawyers trying to visit them, they were turned away. No, you can't come in. It was funny seeing AOC saying, members of Congress have a right to go in and inspect, ICE facilities and DHS facilities. And this just tells you how much of an idiot she is, because no, you don't. You can make an appointment and quote unquote apply to come see them, but you don't just get to walk in and say, hi, I'm here, let me in. The funny part was how they got in, and the violence, leftists are known for their violence. God knows I could show you 24/7 videos of leftists being violent. But no, what did they do? They couldn't get, the DHS wouldn't let them in. Sorry, no, you have no appointment. You have no reason to come in. So they waited till a bus came full of illegals, full of prisoners to bring to the jail, and then they ran through the gates. Okay, that's called trespassing. Gee, the mayor of Newark was all pissed off he got arrested. Guess what? You committed a crime. Okay? If somebody busted into the mayor's office in Newark, what would he do? He'd call security. He'd have them detained. Guess what? It's exactly the same. They didn't have an appointment with you, right? You don't want them in your office. Arrest them. Same principle. That was kind of fun. For the beginning, we heard all the stories on, we're gonna get rid of the criminals. We're gonna get rid of the criminals first. And for some idiotic reason, that's where the liberals thought it was going to stop. They're just going to go after TDA or MS-13 gang members and that's it. No, I tell you this, we're going after every single one of them. I don't care if you're 2 years old. I don't care if you've been here for 30 years. If you are not a legal citizen, if you are not here on a green card, if you are not a legal guest of this country or a legal resident of this country, your ass is going home, whether you like it or not. It was funny because this week Trump had announced that we'll pay illegals $1,000 to leave. Not that I necessarily agree with it, but it's a lot better than the tens of thousands of dollars, the average $17,000 that it costs to deport one, okay? Because, whatever sort of criminal trial, whatever sort of transportation we have to give them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as everybody's joked, catapult sounds like a good idea. Throw them over the Texas border. There you go. Figure it out on your own from there. And a lot of people are taking up the offer, if you will, because one of the good plans they came up with is if we deport you because you're an illegal, you're on a blacklist. You aren't coming back for whatever the term winds up being, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. You ain't ever coming back. Okay? Where if you go home on your own and apply, maybe you'll be back here in 6 months. Okay? But you're breaking up families. No, we're not. You're an illegal. You married somebody here. You had a kid. You're all welcome to leave. That's fine. No problem. Okay? We don't have to break up the families. They can either stay here if they're legal or they can go with you, but you ain't staying. And the funny part is when they got into, all right, we've rounded up a bunch of gang members and stuff. Now we're going after everybody else. And the Democrats, of course, are freaking out. There was a few good stories this week. Girl in Florida was pulled over by a cop for not signaling making a turn. It's like you and I could get pulled over for it. Cop asked for her ID. It turns out she's an illegal. Let's take her into custody. Oh, it turns out her entire family is here as illegals. Guess what? You're going home. Goodbye. Okay? And not back to Miami. You're going back to Latin America somewhere. Goodbye. Apply, and maybe you can come back. Maybe. You had a great one in Nashville this week that, of course, the city of Nashville, as we affectionately refer to it down in Tennessee as Trashville, because it's been just completely overtaken by liberals. Had a nice little deal this week. DHS decided to go in and start doing traffic stops and found 588 illegals. 9% of Nashville's population is immigrant. Okay. Found 588 illegals. They're going home. Goodbye. Okay. You got a speeding ticket. You ran a stop sign. You didn't signal. You had broken taillight. Your window tint was too much. Goodbye. Arrested and gone. Good. Worcester, Mass. There's another good story for you. Got people going in, DHS out on the streets, picking them up. This is what we voted for. This is what we wanted. You want to make the country better. You want to make the economy better. We get rid of the people that are causing rents to go up, food prices to go up, wages to go down. Everybody bitches about inflation. That's the solution. Get rid of the people who are gaming the system, who should not be here at all, okay, who are not contributing to the economy. They are a drain on the system. We can go back to makers versus takers, okay? And, gee, what'll happen? Prices will come down and wages will go up. That is, and you know me, I will call out the administration anytime, provided they don't screw it up with India. Okay? Now, India wants to get more legal residents, H-1Bs. Modi came out the other day and said, well, we're offering a 0-for-0 tariff agreement with the United States. Okay. Fair enough. Not going to expect anything more. That's kind of the goal in the first place. I just want to make sure that part of that agreement isn't, oh, gee, we're going to do 0-for-0, but you're going to increase the amount of H-1B visas to Indians to come into the United States. No. That is another immigration issue, my personal belief. There's a lot of people that agree with me. That is another immigration issue that needs to be curbed, that we need to be drastically cutting the H-1B visas, not growing them. There are plenty, I got an email from one of you guys this week, plenty of IT professionals that are American citizens, that are new grads from American colleges, that have been displaced, laid off, whatever, by American companies looking for work. We don't need to bring in foreign guest workers to fill those jobs. The complaint used to be, in regards to the H-1Bs, oh, we can't find any Americans that'll work for that amount of money. True, because the companies were drastically underpaid. But all of a sudden, when these American workers are out of work for 6 months, a year, 2, their salary requirements go down. Trust me, I've got 20 plus years experience in seeing that happen, okay? Working as a recruiter. Yeah, there's plenty of Americans that are willing to do the job for the same money. Here's the problem. Because of the misguided policies between Barack Obama, George Bush, Joe Biden, whole 9 yards, bringing in all these H-1Bs, now you have a whole bunch of H-1B managers that are only hiring other H-1Bs, only hiring other Indians. I don't care if you're 3 times more qualified and you are the same salary requirements, same compensation package. You're not an Indian, so no. There's a complete different mindset. A caste society. You got to remember what that is. CASTE. Go look it up if you don't know what it is. But that's what is being driven into American business. That's got to have an end too. We have an immigration problem. We have an enormous immigration problem in the United States, in most of the Western world. Take all of Europe, take Australia, whole 9 yards. But funny, why don't you see a whole lot of people trying to get work visas to go work in China or to go work in India? Because they don't have them. They won't let you in to do it. Okay? No, because they're trying to put their countries first, put China first, put India first. Good, they should, okay? All these policies that we're seeing that the Democrats are so against are putting America first, are making America great again. And it's exactly counterintuitive to what the Democrat Party believes. You look at the comments that were made by Ilhan Omar 8 years ago about white men, okay, that have resurfaced, that white men are the biggest danger to the United States. Of course you would hear that from a female Somali immigrant, because if it wasn't for the white men, she'd probably either be dead or maybe still in some camp in Kenya before we rescued her. Okay. But no, now she is a U.S. Congresswoman who's openly said that her loyalties are to Somalia first and to the United States second. That's a little problem for me, for somebody who's in our government. But after those comments were made, you had Democrats, James Carville, we all know him, okay? Not that he's any important figure in the party anymore. I mean, he's 30 years past his use-by date. But Ro Khanna, who is a Democrat congressman from California, Indian descent, said he completely disagrees with her too. And Ro Khanna, Democrat as he is, very liberal, as much as I disagree with him, he had a very good comment when it came to Ilhan Omar. He said, we need to start out every speech saying how great America is, that it's the best country on the earth, this is his words, that it is the least racist country on this earth. It's a Democrat saying that. Ro Khanna got a little bit of respect from me for saying that, because maybe he's waking up and going, you know what? Destroying this country isn't working. Maybe we need to do something different. It's about time people get on board and realize that a good economy, strong jobs, and people living here are here legally, following the law, is a good thing. It's what will make us stronger. But by skirting the system, defrauding the system, supporting criminals, that's not exactly what you call positive influence, which doesn't get you a positive outcome. Pinball out.